Welcome back to the Everyone's Go Fast. Old Big Mek here, and as you saw, the Mek Shop is in a really bad state. Simply put, there's gubbins everywhere. There's insurance gitz coming and going. Mek boys, I can't even keep up with it all. Yeah, so what do you do with your hobby in times of disaster or high stress? Long story short, we had a pipe burst here at the Mek Shop, and it has caused a lot of issues. And yeah, it's a little hard to even be home at the moment with all the machines running 24/7 as they try to dry out the damage, and contractors here during the day banging on things, sanding, and I don't even know what. So I haven't done a whole lot of painting. I haven't done a whole lot of filming. Haven't done a whole lot of hobbying, but I've been leaning on my hobby in this time, and I wanted to talk about that because I think that it's a good thing. Now, what do I mean by good thing? Obviously, having the stress isn't good. What I'm talking about is having the ability to escape from the stress with your hobby. Whether or not it's Warhammer or anything else kind of doesn't matter, even though obviously we're going to talk about Warhammer on this channel. But what it is, you know, it's okay to slightly disassociate from life when it's really stressful like that. There's not anything I can do at this point, right? You know, I'm no plumber or contractor or anything like that. I wouldn't know the first thing about fixing anything that's going wrong. So, you know, you do the part that you can take care of. You call the professionals in, they're here doing their job. So I can't do anything about it. There's no point in worrying about it. It's already being taken care of. But you know, it is a stressful thing that's going on in life, so it's a good idea to kind of like get away from it, step back. So there's been a few things that I could do to engage with my hobby, even though it's not the normal ways I engage with it while all of this is going on. One has been planning. I don't know if you've noticed, but Orktober is coming up in a few weeks, and yeah, 6 weeks is not a whole heck of a lot of time to get things together to make 31 videos in a row. So definitely writing things down, thinking about things, planning things out as far as what videos I'm going to make, who I want to work with, what kind of things I want to do, and getting preparation ready, because it takes a lot of prep beforehand to make videos about longer format things, such as painting projects or building conversions, right? So laying that groundwork now, being able to get all that stuff set up so that I can start shooting that now, so that all of that B-roll is ready, so that all of that, you know, the actual models and stuff are ready for that Orktober event is really important and crucial, which is why I'm starting to think about it now. Which, as an aside, if you are an artist of any type, whether it's 2D, 3D, you have a YouTube channel, you do shirt stickers, anything like that, if you want to work with Old Big Mek on a video for Orktober, get in touch with me. Shoot me a message down below in the comments. Come on over to our Discord server that's free and shoot me a message there. Hit me up on Patreon. Whatever way you want to get a hold of me. I also have an email linked for this channel, but get in touch with me. I would love to work with other creators, especially other creators that love Warhammer as much as I do, and obviously a bonus if you're into orcs. But yeah, I really want to work with people and help raise all voices. So if you want to do something, get in touch. All right. Anyways, so doing all of that planning has been one part of it. Another part of it has been thinking about one of my armies. Surprisingly, not the orcs though. I've got an army that is completely unpainted. I haven't done a single figure for it. I have a lot of armies that I've done some painting on, right? Obviously my orcs are mostly kind of painted. But my Imperial Guard, for example, we've looked at on this channel a number of times. They have a paint scheme set. I've got quite a few points painted. My Eldari, I've got a couple of units that are painted, but I have one army. They're my Space Marines, but I have one army that is just gray plastic. It doesn't have a paint scheme. And I've been rattling around paint schemes in my head and using an app on my phone to like color in things, and even just kind of coloring on sketches and in a coloring book to kind of think of ideas and paint schemes of what I want to do for my own custom chapter. And that's been a lot of fun, like planning out that army paint scheme, even though I can't actually really paint at the moment. Right, so we've been talking about planning, right? I've been planning for Orktober, planning for painting my army. That's kind of just one way of doing this hobby. Another way that I've been engaging in the hobby over this last week especially is reaching out to friends and just kind of celebrating them and their accomplishments. First of all, everybody should go down in the comments and give a wog to War Boss Dan, my old high school buddy that I've told you guys about in a number of videos, who's actually responsible for getting me into Warhammer in the first place. He's found the channel, he is on here, he is down in the comments, so everybody go give War Boss Dan a big wog. But I've been talking with him about his experience coming back into the hobby now, and getting his grots involved, as well as my own grots. You know, talking about passing our hobby on to our kids has been really, really cool. But yeah, just talking with him, talking with my cousins, talking with my buddy Fred, and yeah, just really, you know, looking at what everybody else is doing and being happy for them and celebrating them is still part of the hobby. I don't need to paint anything to get that. You know, I can look at stuff that my friends have painted and go, dude, this is awesome. I'm so glad you did that. It's really cool, and like really loving their army. Fred, for example, just finished, he's got 3 fully painted armies now. He's done Orcs and Death Guard and regular Chaos, and the Death Guard especially are just sick in both the ways. So yeah, like, if you don't have the ability to do your hobby in the moment, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a disaster like me, you don't want it to be a disaster like me, but if it's not necessarily a disaster, even just you're busy with life, you know, you're got work going on, university, whatever the deal is, you can still totally spend time with your friends, with your family, your kids, whoever it is that also enjoys your hobby, and just be in it that way. You know, you get those same kind of endorphins and happy brain chemicals from other people's successes when you celebrate them with them. So, like, why not lean into it? Why not talk to your friends? Heck, even have a little nostalgia about the good old days back in 3rd edition, when you could pop on down to your local game store and buy, you know, a single metal model, and that was like a whole unit. Granted, back then, you know, that was also a whole paycheck because we were young and that was all we had. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to spend some time this week really kind of taking the focus away from my own works and focusing on the works of my friends and again, even my family. I sat down with my son, one of my sons, one of DeGratz, who's been working on his Ultramarines, and he's been painting up Rabute Gilliman as a 9-year-old, and he's doing a darn good job of it. But it was really something, as a parent, as a hobby enthusiast, to sit down at the painting desk and literally work on his stuff with him. Not work on my own stuff, not like try to teach him or anything, but just watch him, just be with him. Was a whole lot of fun. You know, he was able to paint things, show me what he was working on. Had a couple of things that he had like made some mistakes back and forth and just really quiet, wasn't able to fix it. And so it was nice to like, hey, you know what? Like, let me just touch that up for you. Like you know, you doing the shoulder pad, right? You bake the trim and it goes over a little bit, and then you like repaint the middle and it goes out of the trim, and like, let me just line that out for you. But yeah, it was super happy to sit down and do that with them. And yeah, so definitely something to keep in mind as another way of engaging in your hobby for your mental health when things aren't normal. Now, I would say that normally another way you could engage is to window shop, more or less. You know, if you are out of town, if you're in a new area, always visiting a new hobby store is a great thing, even if you don't plan on buying anything, just to see what other stores are out there and what kind of cool stuff they have on display or what their layout is. I love doing that kind of thing. This particular disaster I'm dealing with, frankly, has me stuck here. Again, boffins and contractors and gitz coming and going all day, every day for a week already. It's the first week in a long time that I haven't made it down to my friendly local game store at all, let alone going to any other stores. But depending on what it is that's going on, maybe, again, you're traveling, definitely going and checking out a store is a good thing. But yeah, that particular one wasn't an option to me this time. And the final thing that I've been working on in the past week for my hobby, well, not being able to really hobby, is actually working on cleaning my stuff up a little. I know that doesn't sound great, but what I mean by that is not necessarily, you know, we've done videos on like cleaning up your workspace and things like that, and making your hobby area, you know, more efficient. What I'm talking about is the army itself. For me, this is mainly my orcs. it's a pretty good size army, about 3,500 points all in of painted stuff, but it's been kind of scattered to the winds as I've made videos and gone to the Tacoma Open and things like that, and I needed to kind of get it back together. So not only was the army kind of everywhere and needed to be put back together, but it also gave me a chance to really look at each unit again and with fresh eyes and kind of lay it all out and look at it and think about what it is that I'm doing or what needs to be done next. And it's actually led me to a really interesting perspective that I'm going to do a whole video on, which is it's okay to go back and revisit your done armies. I realized that as I've been working on this army over the last 6 years, obviously there's been some painting progression, there's been some style progression, and there's certain units from earlier on in the army build that are starting to look kind of not as not as quality or like I'm not as proud of them or anything like that, but just a little bit out of place in the army. And mostly for me, it's they're not weathered as much, and so the overall look when you put the whole army out on the table, you can tell that the units are a little bit disparate versus the whole overall look that I'm going for. And so going back and touching those up just a little bit, just to bring them in line with the newest stuff, to again rebalance that whole overall look of the army, to make sure everything is uniform. You put the whole army out and all the units like, yep, that is all the same army, is making sure of that. So again, that's going to be a whole video on its own. Expect that one within the next week. But what it also allowed me to do was a whole lot of repairs. Let's be serious here. Warhammer models are amazing. Most of them have lots of little details on them that can get damaged, especially Chaos, Dark Eldar, anything that has, oh god, Adeptus Mechanicus stuff, that has little teeny tiny things, horn spikes, whatever, little chains, they break off, they get damaged, they get hurt, certainly get paint chipping. I get that on my metal Imperial Guard guys, no matter how careful I am with them. It's metal, and the metal of the old school minis is quite soft, which means that sometimes you could actually have, like I've got a Valhalla, it's got his laser rifle up like that, the tip bends on it a little bit. Well, when the tip bends, all of the paint down the barrel can actually come undone and fall off from that little bit of bend. So yeah, just looking at my force, looking at my army, looking at each unit, I've been able to go, oh, okay, that's broken, glue that back on. Oh, that thing fell off the base. Oh, I lost a couple of tufts, let's put those back on. And just kind of rehab the army a little bit and make sure it's still in top fighting form, and that all of the little bits that are supposed to be there are actually there and glued on, and in proper working order. So, you know, it's one of those things where maybe you're just like on a painting block, or maybe you know, you just kind of don't know what to do next, or your pile of shame is a little bit overwhelming or something like that. Why not pull out your whole army, look at it one unit at a time, set the whole army up on a table, and take a step back and go, hey, does this look right? But then also, like I said, looking at each individual model and going, okay, yep, everything on this one is good, or oh man, I got a little chip here, or a little piece missing, or wow, that gubbin got loose, I should really, you know, resecure that, and just kind of make sure that everything is as it was when you first finished it. So yeah, that's been a really positive way to interact with my hobby, you know, when I can't really concentrate on painting anything because there's all this noise going on and all these people coming and going. Which, speaking of people coming and going, as you can tell by the lighting, it is quite early in the morning, and I'm about to have a whole bunch of boffins here again working on the Mek Shop. So I gotta wrap this one up. I'm hopeful that I'll have some time to do some filming this weekend. There's not gonna be any contractors this weekend, just the crazy loud machines, but they're on the other side of the house. Hopefully the audio in here isn't too bad. Every once in a while you'll hear like a brrr as this machine like empties water, kind of a deal. But yeah, we'll try and work with that. But yeah, hopefully we can work on getting some more content, because you know, I got to do things to do that, and then be able to film it. So definitely stick around. We'll catch you in the next video, and until next time, walk on.